What's going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Zach.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent Podcast. They say you can't choose your family. Well, you also can't choose which era of music you grew up in. This is a weekly show where we discuss our favorite bands from adolescence and how they continue to shape our lives today. Each week, we'll head back to the early 2000s and take a closer look at the cards we were dealt.
Zach, would you like more tunes?
Wait, more tunes?
More tunes?
Can I get some more tunes?
More tunes!
More tunes!
Hey, quick question, guys. Could I get some more tunes?
More tunes, you say?
More tunes.
More tunes! Hey, Pat, can we just get him some more tunes?
Let's get this man some tunes.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 101. Before we get into it, I actually got some mail this week, and I was wondering if you would allow me to read it out loud. They are all directed for Pat, since Zach already had his episode, so don't be a greedy little bastard. Are you ready for that,
This is
Pat?
rare, and I don't like this, but if the fans insist.
I can feel the pressure.
Ooh, damn.
Ooh,
Okay.
Go back and listen to our Paramore episode if you didn't understand.
Okay.
You were right, Tom, by the way, for a little flashback to last week. Pressure is so very much their best song.
Oh, yeah.
It encapsulates everything. You were so correct about that.
Thank you.
Also, every week I miss one really funny joke of yours because I'm just talking too fast and too loud. And it happened again, and the streak continues. Anyway.
What was the joke?
Something about I said something slapped, and you were like, yeah, but not even low key though.
Oh.
But I was just rambling and didn't hear it. And it was a callback to every episode we've ever done pretty much. And I missed it, and I'm sorry. I felt real bad.
It's all right, man. We're all here now having a good time. So,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So the word got out, Pat. You got a dog.
I did, yeah.
Oh my God. We saw
Finally.
a couple pictures of the little rascal, and the people have so many questions, as do I, and I'm sure as does Zach.
It started with a dog and ended last night with me in the emergency room. Long story.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God. Jesus
I almost
Christ.
did not believe that because I thought it was going somewhere else.
Pretty much, we got the dog, and then we moved to a new place, and they had just finished renovating it. And the first Arctic blast of weather came into town. And from the move, a lot of dust got kicked up. So all 4 to 5 things that impact my asthma were present in this one room that I slept in for 3 days. And my inhaler just stopped working by the end of those 3 days. And I left to go to that place, and they pumped me full of the good stuff. So,
oh God,
yeah, Jesse was a little scared.
Tell me what you were full of.
I don't know the names of the things, but they. I asked them. I was like, "What's this one do?" They were like, "It works." They were like, "I wouldn't take it for long term, though." I was like, "That's cool." It might have been battery acid. It's hard to say, but the dog wasn't in the house for more than any longer than we had, so we're pretty sure it's not the dog.
Okay.
And I grew up with the dog, so I'm not too worried. We bought an air purifier, which is the coolest thing.
Ooh.
Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm not to trump the mailbag, but yeah, it's been a wild weekend, and
Wow.
I'm glad you're all right, Pat.
Yeah, man. Jesus Christ.
yeah, me too. That's all in the past, but it's a story worth telling because I had not told you guys yet. Anyway, what's the mailbag?
Yeah. All right, so we got a couple here. We got Albert from Albuquerque. He wants to know, what's the dog's name, and is there a story behind it?
The dog's name is Arlie, and the story is not really a story. It's just one of the bars we went to in Fort Smith after our wedding, and it's called Arlie Mucks. And Jesse was like, "Is it weird that I love the first half of that bar's name?" And I said, "No, I think it makes for a great dog name." So we picked it, and I think it's working out so far, so good.
Wait, Zach, is that the bar where we had a really bad time?
I don't think it was there, but you guys had a brutal weekend, Tom. I don't think we ever really talked about it.
Yeah.
But.
We had a really bad time. I don't quite remember
Okay.
if it was a really bad time.
So it was probably a good time.
It was probably
Arlie.
a good time.
All right, the next one here is from Odie from Okefenokee Swamp. I Are you in?
Where's that?
Are you in the swamp? Are you in the water? Are you drowning? Do you need help? Tweet the show if you need help. _ reminiscent FM.
Speaking of swamps, I went back on Netflix and watched Shrek, the first one, for the first time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get it. The success is warranted. That's a really good movie.
I watched that too.
Yeah, it's a trip.
So Odie asks, it's in Florida, by the way. Everything good happens in Florida, as we all know. What kind of dog is it?
Okay, Jesse wanted a lab, and my dad is a spreadsheet weirdo, and he gave me this book and labs. He's like, no, dude, labs score good, dude. Look,
on the behavioral tests and stuff.
So he gave me this book, and but the landlord didn't want.
Jesus.
If the listeners don't know my dad as much as Zach does, as intimately, so. If you did or had the pleasure of meeting him, it might make a little more sense why he's chortling with such vigor. But our landlord was like, keep it under around 30 pounds. So we found we were looking to rescue, and this sweet little lab mix. There's like a lab rescue in town, and there was this really sweet little thing. She was about 7 months old, all her shots, all that, and she was mixed with a border collie. So all that did was make her a little more energetic and definitely smaller. So she's kind of like a mini black lab with they had named her Eclipse because she has this white spot on her chest that kind of looks like the moon is passing over it, kind of if it were the sun. And one of her feet is also white. So, but she's a sweetheart. She's a little, she doesn't bark yet.
Oh, okay.
It's been 4 days, but she definitely whines and whimpers and kind of like, I don't think she knows what she wants yet because there was we took her to our old apartment. They finished the place. We brought it to the new place. And then there was the version of the place without anything in it. And then on the next day, there was the version of the place with strange men and everything in it. So she's like, I just need to sniff and look for a while because this is crazy. So
how old is she?
7 months in a few days, I think.
Okay.
Some spare change.
Gotcha.
So we're not super puppy. She's been peeing outside for a while. It looks like no accidents yet. She didn't poo for the first day. I think she was just scared.
Yeah.
But she laid down a good one today, so I feel good about that. And she's definitely loves Jesse and me, and she's just kind of we're kind of set on both ends of the relationship, setting down some. I was watching something on Netflix, and I apparently a lot of Netflix shout outs this episode apparently, but she had been chewing the carpet for 40 minutes, and I was like, oh, how did I miss that? I just allowed myself to enjoy a television program for a few minutes, and she had done a number to the corner of the carpet. Luckily, it's nothing we own is something we have invested much time or money in. So
the last one here is from Grace from Grand Rapids. She asks, can I recommend a good dog food?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Grace.
No.
They just recommended the Blue Buffalo baby stuff because that's what she was on, but we might wean her onto something else later. So I'm very interested.
Well, she didn't actually write a follow up to that, so she just asked if she could recommend one.
Oh well, I like your inquisitive nature, but maybe try following through next time.
But I'll recommend. Rachael Ray has a dog food out called Nutrish.
Rachael Ray does not get enough credit. Can I just say that? Can we do a Rachael Ray episode? Are we too committed to the music thing now?
Yeah, I'll recommend her stuff. It's Nutrish, it's grain free, and it's relatively inexpensive for being organic and grain free. So I would definitely go with that.
Is it dry?
It's dry, yes.
How dry?
So dry.
Pat, do you do the frisbee in the yard, cover up the poo thing?
We haven't gotten that far. I don't even have a scooper. So I've just been trying to mentally map where in the yard I have to go get stuff. Because growing up, Jay marked him with frisbees, and kids would come over and play with the frisbees. He'd be like, he'd get up with whatever pleasant porch outside dinner he was having with the adults that they invited over and be like, no, I can't. It's hard. It's long. Those aren't the ones you want. The frisbees, the poop frisbees. Those are for poop. So you had to set them on the house side of the turd where it died, and then that would mark where to clean it up later.
So thank you for your questions, listeners.
Yeah, let's never do a mailbag for me for another at least 55 episodes. No, just kidding.
So the year is 2000. Y2K for all the cool kids out there. Somehow Santana has 2 of the top 3 Billboard hits of the year.
In the year 2000.
You are between the ages of 9 and 10 years old, hovering over your double tape deck boombox, waiting for your favorite song to come on the radio so you can smash that record button that is the original LimeWire. These songs that you waited for all day would become your mixtape for the next year. So, what 5 songs are on that mixtape from the year 2000?
A quick clarification.
Yes.
Are these songs that are we like asking our young selves, or looking back at the songs that were released that year, we get to make our favorite songs of the looking back? Like, is it an accurate playlist mixtape, or is it what we would make now if we were actually going on a trip?
I think so. Yeah, I did kind of struggle with this because, well, for me, a lot of the songs that I would put on then are also ones I would put on now, but it is songs that were released in the year 2000 that we would pick now to put on like a Desert Island mixtape. 5 songs.
Blink-182 came out with Man Overboard, the internet said, but I wasn't like rocking the live album before my sister even slipped me the burnt enema copy. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh yeah, they came out with a live album, but there's like a couple new tracks on there. You got to check it out. You know, like the most inept or like the most adept third grader of all time.
We're going to go back now and pick the songs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll just do, what is it, round robin? Is that the sports word?
No. We could do a snake draft where round robin is like when there's a group of teams and to get out of the group, you have to play all the other teams. I think we want to snake draft this where whoever goes last gets to pick twice, and then it goes back in the opposite direction, and then we snake through the draft.
Let's just do a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
I love it. Easy as ABC.
Or is it 5, 4, 3 or 5, 4, 3? Or is it 1, 2, 3, like number 1 down to number 5? Or should we count it down?
No particular order.
Oh.
No particular order.
Oh, dealer's choice. Okay, so we can start with our least. Well, is the song off the board once we pick?
No.
I'm going to say yes.
Oh, no. I'm not prepared.
I want this to be draft style because I want to be mad. I just feel like getting upset at Tom tonight. Not Zach. Zach, I won't mind if you do it. But Tom, I'm holding any pick you steal from me against you. Even though you're against this rule.
Fine, then. Should we roll to see who goes first?
Yeah.
I've got my Dungeons and Dragons dice right here, so
I love it. It'll definitely be limited to the numbers 1, 2, and 3 then. That's a good choice of dice.
All right. So you're going to have to trust me on these. Okay, Zach, this is your roll. It's a 1. Sorry, dude. Pat, 5.
5. I'll go last. Zach, you go first.
And I'm 4. All right, Zach goes first. Apparently the loser wins.
Oh, wait, 1's bad?
I don't know.
Oh, wait, 5's high. You're right. Tom goes first. Zach goes last. Or no, wait, I go first.
You go first.
Okay. And this is okay, I just got to get this out of the way right away. But also, I don't want anyone to steal it from the board. Oh, God. Okay, just to stay true to what I was actually listening to at the time and the CDs that my sister had. And this is no fault of my sister's. Like, nobody comes to Erie to tour. So, like, the only band that she had seen to this point live, because it was the only opportunity to, at the Civic Center, was Three Doors Down. And Kryptonite was just a hit that year. And I'm going to, with my first pick, draft Kryptonite by Three Doors Down. This is before they recorded that goofy music video called Citizen Soldier that would be played at previews at dollar theaters for years to come. But this was when they were probably at the height of their career. Kryptonite is a great tune. I was through my sister, happening to go to that concert with a friend, into Three Doors Down for like the next 3 years. A little ripple effect there. But I think Kryptonite's a good song. And yeah, my first pick is accurate to what I would have actually been listening to at the time. I think that's one of the better songs from that year.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Yeah. I noticed that there was kind of the grungy voice dudes. This was definitely a heyday for them looking through these songs. I will say that.
Is that the song is like, if I go crazy, then well... Is it that one?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Kryptonite.
Yeah!
All right, that's the number 1 pick overall for the year 2000.
Wow.
A lot of hate mail going to come from that. But I also want to play this strategically, and I'm leaving some of the weirder ones. Not weird, but just like, I just want to see how this unfolds. But yeah, that's pick 1.
I don't think anyone in the world would have stolen that pick from you.
No, fair enough. I remember distinctly, and this is how and we were going to do a music taste episode as well at some point, or like how they developed over time.
Yeah.
My sister going to this one concert led to the following things happening. Me getting very into 2 of their albums front to back and saying the following quote to Steve Buckland at an Odyssey of the Mind meeting where we were making some types of arts and crafts for the skit we were supposed to perform at regionals. And I said, I honestly don't think Three Doors Down has ever written a bad song. I'm sitting there jamming to like, I'm a loser. And just like rocking to the worst after effects like 10 years later of what like grunge in the early 90s happened. And then we were born that same year and we're infants and couldn't enjoy it. And then we developed hearing and then ended up with a lot of grungy ass voices that were trying to be like Pearl Jam, I guess. But yeah, that's where we left us. And that changed almost instantaneously after that next school year, I'm sure. But it was definitely a weird time.
That's amazing, dude.
Well done. Well done.
Like, yeah, man, I guess.
So my first one, obviously anyone who fucking knows me knows this is going to be my first pick. All the Small Things is the greatest fucking song ever written. And that song, when I heard it, I know I've told the story on the podcast before. I was in my sister's room in the upstairs of our old house, and her friend Kara left a CD case in her room, and I was flipping through it, and I, saw a picture of big boobs, and I'm like 9 years old or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to listen to this. And kind of listened through, I liked it, but then All the Small Things came on, and my whole life changed at that very second. I really wanted to be a drummer, never really had much of an interest in it before. But then, the rest of my life just totally pivoted at that moment. Mowed lawns for 2 years, saved up $900 to buy a drum set at 12 years old. Met you guys, played in a band for 5 years with you, went off to pursue a degree in audio production, and now I'm like making a living podcasting. Like the first time I heard that song, my entire life changed. And I still listen to it on repeat for literally days at a time. And I have a big windmill tattoo on my left arm. It's my little windmill. And I want Turn the Lights Off, Carry Me Home engraved on my tombstone. It will forever be my favorite song and also my favorite album of all time.
I hope someday Mark Hobbs and Tom DeLonge find that out, that it literally crafted everything. Does the song have to have been released in the year 2000?
Yes.
Okay. We'll go with the live version, I think. I don't know. I didn't even know Enema was in play. I thought it got released in 99, and I'm not being a wiener. I just definitely would have picked Blink.
Let me check, because one thing... Oh, this says 99. I looked in several different places.
Yeah, but it might have charted in 2000, but it might have been released.
It's in play.
Because I
want it to
have
be in
one
play
of those.
because that's a dope story. Yeah, okay. Let's keep Enema in play then.
Well, I'm gonna say
I really regret my Three Doors Down number one pick.
No, I'll
Enema
say
was in play.
I'll say the live album then. I'll say the live album.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
Good call.
Because I saw Man Overboard got released that year. I'm like, okay, so that's when the Tom, Mark, and Travis show came out. I was like, but that can work. Because Man Overboard's a good song, but it's not a top 5 from the year.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, thanks for calling me on that. Don't let me get away with that.
No, I just was like, am now very embarrassed that I went Three Doors Down ahead of the three of ours favorite Blink record and like favorite band.
Well, it came out in 99, so I mean.
All right. I'm sorry for disrupting.
I'm sorry.
Well,
More tunes!
All right, Zach, go.
More tunes.
So you both chose your number one picks, and you are going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
I'm trying to play it so that nobody steals my picks.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start with number 5. This is some comedic addition. The story behind this song is that there isn't really much of a story behind this song, other than my dad liked to listen to a certain radio station on our way to a certain spot in the woods where we would go turkey hunting. And this song would be on like all the time in the morning. And it is J-Lo featuring Ja Rule. I'm real. I'm real.
Oh, dude, that is a banger.
The way you look, the way you... Yeah, you know that one. Well, so I was looking on the like released in 2000 chart, and I was drawing up a lot of blanks, and I couldn't really identify with all of them. So I was like, oh, I remember this one though instinctively, and I picked it because it's a good bop. So that's my number 5. I don't think anyone's gonna steal that one. So there it is.
That's a good one, man.
Yeah, 2000 was a really good year.
Yeah.
I was looking at, was it She Bangs by Ricky Martin came out there? I'm like, that's not in my top 5, but like, oh, there's so many. The boy band era wasn't even over yet, and there's a lot of good hip hop option as well. Yeah, damn, good year. Sorry if She Bangs was on anybody's top 5, but that's just one of the songs I saw. Anyway, I want to talk about all the ones that didn't make our 5, kind of something more.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've got a lot.
In a weird way. Yeah, we'll see. I wrote a few down that just made me laugh.
I didn't write any down, to be completely honest. But I do have some time, maybe, to pick a few that didn't make it.
I love that. I like the idea of Randy Paulson rocking to Ja Rule on the way to kill turkeys.
We had a Jeep Wrangler, and it was just, I don't know. It is what it was. It was what it was. There's nothing wrong.
I love it,
but it's not what it wasn't.
I love that we both got to appreciate like our dads during this episode a little bit. Just like, man, 2000 was a hell of a year, a hell of a drug. Some shit was going down.
Hell of a year.
All right, Zach, you go again.
I go again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, number 4. I'm actually excited about this. I'm gonna go in decreasing order. Or increasing order, I should say. But I'm actually really excited about this because I hope this entire album somehow makes it into the notes afterward for people to check it out. But don't forget this band in the late 1990s and early 2000s. But Smash Mouth.
Oh, dude. Yes. Yes, man.
Like, charted. Then the Morning Comes in 2000. That song is fucking dope. And I listened to that. And then it's like, this is the first CD I actually had was Smash Mouth.
Huh.
And my parents got it for me like for a birthday or Christmas or something like that. And I have a little note here that says, honestly, listen to this through and through because A to Z is like, damn, this is some sweet tunes. Like, I don't hear any other bands doing this really. It's like, I don't know. It was super cool. And in finding my top 5, I found this one on a separate chart. It was like, oh, wait about Smash Mouth. When did they come out with that? Astro Lounge. And there it was. I'm like, oh, shit, I got to listen to this whole thing right now because I got to go back down memory lane. And again, Astro Lounge was kick-ass.
Our friend Jay Gordon has a very strong opinion about Astro Lounge being a very underrated album.
Great record. They're a great band.
They became like a jokey Shrek thing, like in this decade, but they had it going on.
Yeah, for sure.
So Then the Morning Comes, number 4.
Are we as a show pro Astro Lounge?
Absolutely.
I would support this message.
Cool. Yeah. I vote aye on that one for sure.
I mean, dude, Every Morning is such a killer song. Like, they're such a good band, dude. I will unapologetically say that I love Smash Mouth.
That's fine.
Day.
I think
a
lot of the population would totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
like it's internet funny, but when you're at the party, they'd be like, "No, honestly, I actually love it." Like, all right, dude.
Okay, so my turn.
It's up
right?
to you, Tom.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'll pick 2, and we'll head back in the other direction.
Okay, so my second one I think is their most underrated album. And I love the title track from the album Warning by Green Day.
Ooh.
Just such a solid record through and through. And I remember mowing Jim Griffey's lawn, who was he was the drummer at the Erie Playhouse, the local community theater.
On Joliet Avenue?
Yeah, it was like basically your neighbor. And I remember...
Yeah, I might have seen you that day, honestly, and not even known.
Like listening to this song on my CD player in the pocket of my gym shorts, praying it doesn't skip, saving up for that drum set, and just listening to this album over and over and over, and loving kind of like the weird, like haunted circus vibe of some of their songs. It's also a phrase I've said more than several times on this show. Yeah, I mean, and then you have Macy's Day Parade at the end of the album, but Warning is just such a good song. Mike Dirnt kills those harmonies, and that's definitely my number 2 pick.
More tits!
That's a great pick. More tunes! All right. Okay, so I get to pick twice, so I'm going to burn, when we do our How Musical Tastes Have Changed Over Time episode, there will be a bit about how most of it was impacted by listening to classic rock radio with my dad on the way to walk our dog. Shout out to Nala.
Hey.
And I'm going to go ahead and say that Beautiful Day by U2, they came out with a very good effort album in 2000, I thought. Even then, I still love that record. All That You Can't Leave Behind. Beautiful Day, really good song. It might not be the best song on the record if you really take a closer look, but it's probably the most recognizable one off the record. Anyway, Beautiful Day by U2 is definitely a pick of mine. I think I didn't even say that records were strong efforts or not, because that's just a comment my dad had made about that album. He's like, yeah, it's a good effort by U2. I think he's kind of a U2 apologist. Anyhow, Beautiful Day. I like that song, so whatever. It's my number 2 pick. And now, this is where it gets tricky, because there's another raspy voice band song that I don't want to pick this early, but I think deserves to be on there given the time period. But I will pick one that's one of my now all-time favorites, Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus, which I wasn't listening to at the time.
That came out that year?
It did. It would be criminal if it didn't make this list, because it is one of my it's probably in my actual top 5. So for it not to make this mixtape would be criminal.
I absolutely think of you anytime I hear that song, or even like any line from that song makes me think of the song, makes me think of you. So yeah, I'm glad you picked that.
It's the ultimate high school, like, having a crush song, and it's super catchy and fun. And it was like the first time I even attempted to learn a lead guitar part. It's so easy, obviously, but the it took me like 4 months. But, I just love that song. And I ended up watching that weird Jason Biggs movie like years later in Albuquerque while I was just hanging out one night, that the music video is kind of based on. And I don't even think that song's in the soundtrack, but Jason Biggs and the girl from American Beauty are in the music video for this song. It's such a weird, dumb year 2000 thing. But I love that song. It's possibly the greatest song ever written, but that's we have to do a Wheatus episode, quite frankly. And if we did one, it would have to be only about Teenage Dirtbag.
Because what are the other ones?
Right.
I told you about the time Wheatus tweeted at me, right?
No, but I want to hear about it.
I think they were tweeting about like the anniversary of the song or something about, I don't know. I tweeted back, this song is fucking gold. And they tweeted back saying, no TKLs, you're fucking gold. And that was cool.
Ooh, that's a good tweet.
Yeah.
That's a good tweet.
Okay, so coming back to me, right? I don't know how drafts work.
And then after you and Zach go, let's recap what we have so far in our mixtapes.
Okay, sure. So number 3, I'm worried. I'm worried with all my picks that it might be one that you guys take. But another defining song of my life was 99 Red Balloons, the Goldfinger version.
What?
What?
I'm just excited for the pick. Like, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. Yeah, that's a value pick in this round.
Now I'm all worried that didn't release that year either. Okay, 2000. Yeah. So this is the first song. I think we talked about it actually just on episode 99. We played it just on repeat in my attic the first time we ever all jammed together with like 9 dudes in my upstairs room. The room I just mentioned was my sister's when I discovered Enema. Actually, that's really interesting. We tended to like move around rooms a lot, and I discovered Enema of the State in that room, and then we started a band in that room, and I don't know, never really thought about it, but yeah, we played that song over and over because it's a really easy chord progression, and the kind of breakdowny post chorus or pre-chorus or whatever is super dope, and I'll always love that song.
The first guitar solo ever.
Oh yeah. It's one of the only lead lines I can play myself to. So. That's how easy it is.
It might be my favorite cover ever. It might be.
Oh, it kicks
we listen to that always. That might be why these mixtapes end up, if one of them, specifically mine, ends up lackluster. It might be because I was listening to 99 Red Balloons that entire calendar year. That's such a good pick. And the reason I reacted like I did, because I'm upset with myself that my pre-so research didn't lead me to this tune, and damn it, that's a good pick, Tom.
That's
good stuff.
I honestly spent like about an hour and a half going through my iTunes library by year, and then there was like 1,000 records from the year 2000, the link that I sent you guys. I went through every single one of them to make sure I was getting the best things. But after looking through that list of 1,000 records for like an hour, everything I already needed was from my iTunes library. So.
Well, I was looking through just a quick Google, like best songs 2000, and I got to the fact that the album Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water came out that year, and I was like, this is too much information to process. I was like, how can we even task ourselves with this? Because we're going to do this for the whole decade throughout the course of the new rebranded version of the show. So I just like am fearing the daunting task ahead.
Yeah, because it's going to be as kind of difficult, well, maybe more time consuming than difficult, because, you know, it's just a lot of music to go through and you don't want to miss anything.
I know.
Or miss whole genres. Because I feel like all of us like weren't into hip hop at the time, but obviously, well, apparently Zach and his dad were listening to Ja Rule deep cuts on the way to turkey hunt.
I've got a lot of honorable mentions, though. Like a lot of them.
Yeah, same.
All right, Zach, you got one more.
Zach gets, or wait. Yeah, pick one. We'll recap our mixtapes, and then Zach starts round 4.
Okay. So I get one. So this is my number 3, correct?
Yep.
All right. This is the, still the era of most of my music is coming from either my grandfather, listening to the radio with my dad going to kill turkeys, and from my older brother, Brendan. So I was getting some good stuff, but I wasn't getting any of the pop punk that I later came to learn to play and love. Like, Tom, you were my like heavy influence on that stuff. So I got all that stuff from you, and I got stuff from Brendan, like Blink, a little bit later too. So he was kind of stingy on that, but I did get this. I did get No Doubt, and I did get Bathwater. No Doubt Bathwater on Return of Saturn is one of my favorite No Doubt songs, and I'm super glad that it came out in 2000. And I checked it. I was like, oh yeah, all right, because it could have been a number of other ones that Brendan kind of filtered over to me over the years. But I know that when I was 10 and I listened to Bathwater, I said, yeah, that's good. That's good bop. There you go.
I'm so jealous you had an older brother just feeding you ska.
Right.
Like, what a good thing to have as a child. That's like such a valuable resource.
You just wait. I've got my number 2 is
I'm excited because we get to hear it next. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I had
that's
Jay
right.
Scott in 8th grade. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a good resource as well. Jay Scott did a lot of things for a lot of people.
Yeah, totally.
Musically.
I remember asking him what his favorite kind of music was, and he did what my older brother Troy did, where he would just kind of like look inquisitively for a minute, and then he kind of shrugged his shoulders and said, if it's good, it's good. And that like blew my mind. I was like 11.
I don't know if
like,
I've ever told you guys this. But we had just formed our band at middle school, and AIM was still being used.
Yes.
And I aimed Jay Scott because he was in a band, and he was the only person I knew that even talked about music that way. And I was like, hey man, so you've written some songs? And he's like, yeah, man. And I just remember asking like, can I have any? Because I was just so worried that we weren't going to be able to write any. And he was like, I'll never forget it. But he was like, no, I just can't. Like, I appreciate where you're coming from, and it's actually kind of a compliment. And again, this is Jay Scott acting like a 35-year-old really cool person at the age of like 14.
12.
But he's just like, but my songs are like my children. And I was just like, I've tapped into some deeper shit. I'm not even on yet.
Not ready for this
I
yet.
just let it go. I was like, I'm sorry for bugging you, sir. I will run into the depths of the darkness immediately and sign off. My away message will be apologies to Jay Scott. Forever.
You asked him
But I was
for
like
songs.
worried we weren't going to have. I didn't know cover bands existed because we were young. Again, obviously, have you heard that we were young when we started? Anyway, I'm just like, oh man, we need some songs. Maybe I'll ask Jay Scott to give me some. Oh man, 2000, very embarrassing year.
Oh my God, that is so. Can I have some?
I'm glad he didn't tell you guys about that, quite honestly.
Dude, that's the funniest thing I've ever.
So sheepish.
You had no faith in us, Pat.
Oh, in myself specifically, just like this is like, how are we going to write a song? How does anybody do it? But
Oh,
it was like it's like a drug transaction. Like, so you got like some songs. I heard you got some songs.
So you don't want to break down what we have so far?
Oh, yeah.
Mine are all pop punk. That's pretty much it. From my very formative days of switching from whatever was on the radio, because I didn't have any of the influences. Like my sister actually did introduce me to Simple Plan. I think that came out in 2001.
Okay.
But and again, I don't think I heard these songs the year that they came out or anything. Maybe All the Small Things, but yeah, just all very formative. They all kind of point back to a big turning point in my life and the path that I'm still going down.
Yeah. So what are the tunes again?
Oh, All the Small Things by Blink, Warning by Green Day, and 99 Red Balloons by Goldfinger.
Damn, that is 2000 was your year to do this episode because that is like the most perfect time mix. Mine is Three Doors Down, Kryptonite, Beautiful Day by U2, and Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus so far.
So good.
And mine is J-Lo featuring Ja Rule, I'm Real, Smash Mouth, Then the Morning Comes, and No Doubt, Bath Water.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to make an Apple Music and Spotify playlist of these songs, by the way. So
awesome. I'll
put a link in the show notes for that. Reminiscentpodcast.com/episodes/101. We'll have we'll have a dope playlist in there for you.
All right. And I think I start this next round off, right?
Yep.
This is number 2. Get ready for this one. It's Gainesville, Rock City.
Yes! Yes!
Less Than Jake. This is another score from my big older brother who just shoveled ska into my face. Thank you, Brendan, for Gainesville, Rock City. This one did, in fact, come out in 2000 off of Borders and Boundaries. And yeah, Less Than Jake. Thanks, bro.
Damn it.
Dope.
Yeah. Wow. Nice. Nice late pick. Nice late pickup.
Oh, is it me?
Damn it. Yeah. And then, damn it. I feel like later in life, people are like, oh, yeah, ska is totally a genre. And here's a bunch of, like, Joe McShane just threw Less Than Jake CDs at me, probably like a decade after you were onto him. And I was like, what is happening? Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. And, man, good pick. I'm so jealous. You guys are nailing it. I'm going to listen to this Spotify playlist probably forever now.
I'm so hyped. Okay, so I've got, I don't know if these are in any particular order, the next two, but, and I'm sure neither of you would pick them, so I'm not worried about it, but Points of Authority by Linkin Park. I found out about Linkin Park listening to listening to Meteora, and it's a really weird story. I had this orange BMX bike that was meant for dirt jumps. Kara, the girl who actually distantly introduced me to Enemy of the State, found this bike in the woods, and they rode it home to my house. I had like a really bent up rim. The tire was blown and the handlebars were messed up. Seat was messed up. And they just kind of left it there. And after it sat there for like a year or two, I was like, you know what? This is a dope bike. I'm going to try to fix it up and ride it. And I knew my friend at the time, Dan Majeski, who Pat and I went to high school with. Also, I went to Catholic school with him from like second grade until all the way through high school. His brother Tom was really good at working on bikes, and just kind of by default, he learned a lot of stuff. So we spent maybe 5 hours fixing this bike up, like taking off the back hog and like re-greasing the bearings, and like he had like paint to like buffed out the scratches and did like a paint job on it and stuff. And he put on Meteora, and at that time it was like unlike anything I've really ever heard before. And we listened to it like 3 times. Then he's like, oh, they have an album that came out before this, being Hybrid Theory. And that was like even a little edgier, I guess. And I was going through a lot at that time. It was like 6th or 7th grade, and family issues, lots of depression, all of that. And Linkin Park like totally got me through that. Just like knowing that someone understands like the pain that I'm going through, and made me feel like more than just some kid that grown-ups didn't. I don't know. It was a weird time. And then obviously when, you know, everything that happened with Chester last year, like seeing your hero go down with the issues that they helped you with was a really hard thing to go through. But Hybrid Theory, Great album. Points of Authority is my favorite on that. And I remember getting the Live in Texas DVD and just playing, like looping that song because the live version they did was so good, but album version is also super killer.
Great pick. I loved that album. I listened to it backwards and front. Listening to it backwards was not very good, but I had to do it at least once.
It was a worse version.
Actually, I did listen to it backwards first before I listened to it frontwards, so I almost put the damn thing away. I was like, well, this doesn't even sound good. But then I got it.
It isn't even music.
It's like, just give me some different tunes. And, so.
All right.
Tom, we're writing your biography right now.
What?
We're writing your biography with this mixtape.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is like the perfect year for your mix. I'm loving this.
Yeah. Back to you, Pat.
All right. So I just picked 2 and then it's over for my...
Yeah.
I feel like I've botched everything.
I knew one of us was going to.
Oh, God. So many. My honorable mentions are going to be such a better mixtape. I just know this. So I'm going to stay true to what I was listening to at the time and just lean into the swerve of how bad this is. And then my honorable mentions list hopefully will save me.
Redeem.
I'm going to go with I'm Like a Bird by Nelly Furtado.
Yo!
Yeah!
Yes!
Good one.
And the grungy voice era, Hanging by a Moment by Lifehouse. I think this is a list of 5 that I actually would have been listening to at the time, sans the Wheatus tune.
Okay. That's a good,
that Lifehouse
yeah.
song was also on the radio as often as the Ja Rule song was. So I'm with you there, Pat, because that one was on the same station on the road in the Wrangler.
That would have been Star 104, right?
I think so, yeah. Star 104 for sure.
103.7.
Yeah. Star 104.
My last one is one that I didn't listen to until somewhere between junior and senior year of high school. It is Title Track by Death Cab for Cutie off of We Have the Facts and We're Voting Yes. I remember one of the first times Hannah and I, Hannah was like my first love. We did a whole episode of me just desperately apologizing for how terrible I was when I was 17. But one of the first times we ever talked, she said that was her favorite album. She burned me a bunch of Death Cab CDs. And we went to the beach one day and I didn't have sunblock because we were just going to be there 20 minutes. And then she just kept saying another 20 minutes, another 20 minutes, another 20 minutes. And I got 2nd-degree sunburns and sun poisoning on the entire front half of my body. And after that, I laid in bed for, it was about 9 days, literally screaming in the worst pain I've ever experienced, just begging my mom to kill me. Like, I'm not even joking, begging her to end my life because it was the worst pain ever. And I remember on my, I think it might have been a little blue iPod Shuffle at the time. Blue iPod Mini 4 gig, just listening to Title Track on repeat this whole time. And like, it's weird that this song is like a good memory for me because I was in such pain when I was listening to it that much, but it's just a really nice mellow song and it switches from like lo-fi to like full fidelity halfway through. And I think it's really cool from like a production standpoint. It's a super good move on their part. And that song means a lot to me and doesn't remind me of horrible sunburns, but reminds me of really good summers with the girl I first loved. The first girl I loved. Whichever.
That's a good mixtape.
It's not bad.
Good mixtape.
It's not bad.
It's real good.
And that leaves us with Zach's last pick. What do you got?
Okay, guys. I'm going to give you one and only one option, one guess as to who my number one is.
AC/DC.
Do we want to play it that way? Or should I just tell you? I should just say that. I should just ask first.
Wait, hold on. Number one.
Who would be my number one artist?
John Prine.
Yes.
I was going to say the Oneaters.
That did not come out in 2000. If it had, it might have been number one for all of us, and that would have been so epic. Anyway, John Prine released Souvenirs in the year 2000, and Souvenirs is a re-recording of a lot of his past songs, some of his hits. And he had grown much older. Obviously, his first record was in 1971, and I think he was 25, 26 in Chicago. And in 2000, he was getting a little older, had survived a bout of cancer, and had swung back and forth between several different genres, but still remained true. And in 2000, he said, well, I'm going to re-release a lot of these songs in a very acoustic, very country style. And he re-recorded Angel from Montgomery. And Angel from Montgomery was on his original 1971 self-titled album and was made famous and re-recorded by multiple different artists through the genres over the years. And one of the first songs that I learned how to polyrhythmic pick with my fingers, and I listened to that song over and over with my grandpa in his basement in northern Wisconsin. I was like, dang, this guy's good. And I knew that already. And I was like, well, I could do that eventually. So over many, many plays and listens and practicing that polyrhythmic picking, I shut everything off one night and I started doing the picking pattern. I was like, dear God, I've gotten it. And the beauty of the song remained. And it's like, oh, well, I'm doing it now. And a musician needs like that little bit of, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing this, because it's not my song, but it's my version of beautiful because I'm doing this. I'm making the own music. I don't need to turn anything on. It's just there. So one of those aha moments in the musical world, for me anyway. So number one, surprise, surprise, Zach chooses a John Prine song. And I was so happy that Souvenirs came out in 2000 because it was the first thing I Googled. I was like, okay, John Prine discography, because I don't have any of that memorized fully, most of it. There you have it, folks. JP, Angel from Montgomery.
I'm glad we ended on that pick. That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a damn good one.
Should we give quickly our honorable mentions?
Yeah.
Okay. This was such a good year for me, man. Good Charlotte released her self-titled album with Little Things, Waldorf Worldwide, Motivation Proclamation, and Seasons on it. I would pick every single one of those songs. The Real Slim Shady off of Marshall Mathers LP came out that year. I had Pool Party by the Aquabats.
Oh, no way. Are you?
Those two. Your honorable mentions is already better than mine.
And then I also had Look What Happened by Less Than Jake off of Borders and Boundaries.
Nice.
So I was really excited to hear you say that because that like just barely didn't make my list. I thought about that should be over title track, but like I'm way more, I don't know, nostalgically glued to that song. I had Bye 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 by NSYNC because, I mean, come on. And Dress to Kill by Newfound Glory. Their Coming Home album came out that year, and not my favorites off that album, but some really good ones that are totally worth mentioning.
That's a damn good list. I'll spit mine out real quick. Bohemian Like You by Dandy Warhols. I couldn't put it on because I didn't get into it till way later in life and it didn't feel right. Renegades of Funk by Rage Against the Machine.
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
Yes.
That's one of my all-time favorites, but again, it felt wrong to put some of these because I was clueless to them at the time, so it didn't feel like my 2000s playlist. Let's see. Slim Shady was on there. Miss Jackson by Outkast. Outkast wasn't even on my radar. Who Let the Dogs Out was everywhere that year.
Yes, dude.
Shout out to the Baja Men.
Yo, can I give a quick story about that?
I would love it.
I remember my oldest stepsister Erica had friends over at her house, and I just got the new Baja Men album, and I was playing it on my PlayStation 1 with the visualizer on, and I remember like putting on like a tank top to show off my sick guns, my 9-year-old guns, and I remember trying to look really hard at the visualizer because in my 9-year-old brain, her friends would come into the room. They would have been 14 or 15, saw me studying the visualizer, and they would think, oh, wow, I can't believe he understands what's happening on that thing. And they would think I was like super smart and inquisitive.
I love that.
To the Baja Men.
Studying the beats, dude. You had a passion for audio, even then. I just remember going to Browns games with Jay and, with the dog pound stuff. like they came back in the NFL in '99, so 2000 hit, and it was just like, let's get it going. They just played it every first down, ripped through that record immediately.
Nice.
My last two, Country Grammar, obviously good radio tune from the era.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And then this is another one that would make one of my all-time lists. Aside by the Weaker Thans. I didn't get into the Weaker Thans till way later. They're one of my favorite groups, but again, I wasn't really delving into Canadian rock that wasn't Avril that decade. So
I saw that on the list and knew you would pick them at some point.
I love the Weaker Thans. They're great. We should do a Weaker Thans episode, or maybe I'll just give you an hour of audio on the Weaker Thans, and we can do it on the week we're busy.
Okay.
Anyway, that's all my extras.
All right, Zach, do you have any?
Maybe. I think I might have some. Do I have some for sure? Maybe.
More tunes?
Okay, more tunes! So I was spending a lot of time out in the country and when I was 10 years old. And sorry, but how do you like me now? It's a Toby Keith song. Anyway, I worked at a barn where my parents kept their horses. Well, my mom kept her horses, and I worked there for free. I had to work, but I was paid no money. And so that song was on all the time at that barn. Okay, there's that. Let me think about, Cowboy Take Me Away charted in 2000. That's a Dixie Chicks song.
Oh,
No.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, don't be so jealous, really.
No, Dixie Chicks are the best. They deserve at least 10 of our episodes to be dedicated to their work.
And there's a few songs on Fly that charted, I believe. And
damn it. I'm glad they got mentioned, but it's a crime that they didn't get mentioned until now.
Wait, did that come out in 2000 though?
I think it was 99, but I think it charted in 2000, unfortunately.
Released in 99, yeah.
That's why it wasn't on one of the lists, because I really wanted that one a lot.
There you go.
That's one of my favorite albums of all time. Like, no joke. I fucking love that record. My sister introduced me to it, and God, yeah, damn, we should have started at 99.
Yeah. That's what's tough, though. It was the end of all the era, or like the 90s were kind of bleeding out into the weirder I bet our 2004 mixtape episode is going to be amazing.
Oh, God, I can't wait.
Our 2007 is going to be a weird one.
Yeah.
Attack.
Yeah, it's going to start getting only weirder and less 90s like. So this is interesting because it was still a lot of the boy band era type 90s pop hits. So
yeah,
I'm glad we did this. I'm glad Ja Rule and the Dixie Chicks got a shot.
Well, there's Thong Song. You can't forget the Thong Song.
No,
and then
really?
Creed had Higher as well off that Human Clay album. I mean,
it's a good tune.
I had that CD, to be completely honest. I just made it.
There's nothing wrong with it. They had some. I don't want to say bops, but they had some stuff, and I liked it. I liked the stuff.
And my sister really loves Christina Aguilera. So What a Girl Wants, damn. What a girl needs, whatever makes her happy, sets her free.
We also need to mention that Britney Spears' debut album came out that year with Oops, I Did It Again, and all those songs came out that year. So that needs to be mentioned.
It was a great music year, I think, is the conclusion.
Yeah. So do you want to give our songs of the week?
Yes.
All right. John. I saw The Story So Far a week ago, and I don't know how many songs off their new album I've already recommended. This might be like the fifth one, but Keep This Up. Oh God, the melody at the ending and just the super powerful harmonies, they totally slay me. And it was amazing to hear them play it live for the first time, or first time that I saw them play it live. So Keep This Up by The Story So Far.
I don't have a song, but I was listening to Action Bronson came out with the album White Bronco. And I don't have a favorite song off it yet, but that was just what I was listening to last week. New stuff by him. It's pretty good. It's very good. White Bronco, the album by Action Bronson.
I have a tie this week, mainly because the excuse of I didn't have any runner-ups for the top 5, so I get to have 2 here.
I'll allow it.
Okay. Lazy Eye, Silversun Pickups.
Oh.
And Lissie, When I'm Alone with You, you make me feel. That's the other one.
What song is that?
I think it's called When I'm Alone, but it's Lissie.
Okay. Dope. I'll have a link in the show notes to all of these songs. And It's going to be busy.
You don't have to do that to yourself, man.
No, I'm going to. I have a flight to Alabama on Thursday morning. I'm going to get a load of this Thinkercon. It's like a, Pat, don't be mad, but it's like a YouTube convention.
You son of a bitch.
I know how you feel about the YouTubers, but I'm going to be hanging out with a bunch of them. The hosts of some of my favorite podcasts are going to be there. It's in Huntsville, Alabama. We're going to have dinner underneath the space shuttle at the U.S. Air and Space Museum, and hopefully meet some of my favorite podcasters. And also, I'm really hoping to get some new clients out there, because I'm imagining of the 1,000 people that got tickets, some of them want to have their own media content, and hopefully I can help them make it sound good. So I'll have some time on the flight and in an Airbnb in historic downtown Huntsville to not only work on Ron Carnage, the Thinker Boy, but also work on the show notes for this. And yeah, can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
Sounds fun. I'm excited for you. That's awesome. You've been planning this trip for a while.
Yeah. I'm stoked. And we're going to be back, I think, next week with kind of a retrospective on our phases of different genres and kind of what shaped them, what initiated it, and kind of how we got to where we are now. And just kind of take a look back at how our musical taste has changed. And I'm super stoked for that episode. So that'll be next week, episode 102.
Yay! More tunes!
More tunes.
Can we harmonize that real quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
More tunes.
Well, you had the minor there.
More tunes.
More tunes.
All right, love you guys.
Love you.
Bye. Love you too.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to episode 101 of the Reminiscent Podcast. You can find all of our merch for sale at reminiscentpodcast.com/shop. You can find the show notes for this episode at reminiscentpodcast.com/episode/101. You can follow us on Twitter at _reminiscentfm. Tweet at us and let us know what your 5 picks from the year 2000 would be. Thanks, guys. Talk to you next week.